It's time. Time for school spirit to reverberate through the city. Time for stadiums to light up the sky and for the ground to shake. Every Friday, we witness greatness. We have been waiting all year for a moment to represent and cheer on our favorite teams. Moments that can change the course of a school's history. Around here, football isn't just a game, it's a way of life. Every season, teams across the Southeast give everything they've got in hopes of calling themselves the champions. Born to win, surviving every hit and leaving it on the field. When the lights hit the grass and the stadium begins to rumble, that's when you know Friday Night Football is back. News 4's Friday Night Football is sponsored by Jax, all about the South.
The time is finally here, folks. We are kicking off Friday Night Football right here on News 4. Welcome in, everyone. I am Briana Jones.
And I'm Nick Brooks. For the next 30 minutes, we are highlighting your favorite Wiregrass football teams as we head into the first week of contest. Now, we start things off with a team looking to build off a very successful 2022 season. The Houston Academy Raiders are looking for revenge after going out in the first round of the Class 3A playoffs. Now, it will be a tough task as it looks like this region only got better in 2023. The Raiders do have arguably one of the best passers in Alabama lining up under center, but they did lose some big pieces like Will Wells at receiver.
Being able to flex and spread the whole offense and make defensive play the whole field and not just key in on one play, that's going to be big for us.
Now let's take a look at some of the competition the Raiders will go up against. The top four teams in that region were pretty close despite HA's 10-0 record. The Pike County Bulldogs were the final team in the playoffs for Class 3A Region 2, but made an appearance in the quarterfinals. The 2023 season should be an intriguing one in this 9-team region with not really knowing what to expect out of several of these teams.
Well, hey, one team on that list, Providence Christian, happens to be, of course, their competition and a rival. What's happening with the Kenny Keith system? The Eagles, under a coach who helped build this program. In fact, he's been with Providence Christian since they first put a team out on the field. And not much has changed since he really first took the headset.
Offensively and defensively, we don't change a whole lot. You know, you do what you know. So I'm one of those old school stubborn guys. So you'll see a lot of the same. And actually this year you'll see a lot of the same faces.
Well, when you talk about high-performing players to keep an eye on this season, there's no way you can avoid Mississippi State commit and current Headland Ram Caleb Dozier. The 6'3", 225-pound linebacker is a three-star athlete looking to make a major impact during his final year in a Rams jersey. Just last season, Dozier and first-year head coach Reggie Melton helped the Rams finish fourth in Region 2, getting back to the playoffs for the first time since 2018 when they won a region title.
When I got there 3 years ago, I looked at him and told him he was a D1 athlete. Then he just believed it. And he works like he's already there. I called him out and I said, Caleb, we're going to take this whole week off next week. You're not allowed to go work out at nobody's gym or train or anything. So he's just one of those guys that believes in working at all times.
Well, what about Alvin Henderson and the Elba Tigers? The Tigers were primed to make a deep run with a really good squad. The Tigers spent 8 weeks ranked number 1 in Class 1A by the ASWA. Now, they come in at number 2 in the ASWA's preseason polls, looking to wipe the sour taste of a second-round exit in the playoffs as Henderson heads into his junior season.
That still hurts a little bit. We expected more out of ourselves, and we've got to be able to use that as motivation. We are capable of getting back to that point and being able to capitalize over this time.
Well, every year there's a team or teams folks could really care less about. You know, the ones expected not to do too much as far as a record goes here.
Bree, I think you mean the teams we often sleep on. How about we go ahead and show folks the teams we think are on that list this year. Now, after 2 seasons of failing to score a win on the field, the Daleville Warhawks saw some positives in 2022 with a three-game win streak as head coach Will Gardner enters his third season with the Warhawks. He looks to build off that success with many of his starters the past few years now becoming upperclassmen. Now with a tough 9-team region, it will be challenging, but the Warhawks could return to the playoffs for the first time since 2019.
Okay, Nick, I got the Carroll Eagles as my team. We should not really sleep on. It's been interesting to watch what Coach Plott has done with a team that's really undersized. His team went 5-6 last season, but one of those wins you cannot ignore. A 42-8 win over the Headland Rams, a team we just mentioned went to the playoffs. A more physically tougher team. An All-State player will return on the roster, and Cavante Dickerson will keep an eye out for the Eagles.
Now, when you talk about teams that have been slept on in the past, it's hard to not mention the Pike County Bulldogs. Back in 2021, this program went 0-9, setting a team record for losses in one season. But by the following season, with the addition of head coach Mark Hurt, things looked up. Pike County moved from Region 4 to Region 2 and would finish fourth. 2 playoff wins for the team until a third-round exit from Mobile Christian. Outside of that playoff loss, every L that team took happened to be by 1 point.
Well, I'm just going to be consistent at what we're doing. I mean, Pike County is a program that has 5 state championships. We've always won at Pike County, so we're just trying to get it back to that level. It's pride. It's pride for the community. So we're just going to continue to be consistent at working at it. Continue to try to raise our players to be great men in the future.
Well, that team's rival was also certainly one to watch. The Charles Henderson Trojans had a deep run all the way to the state championship game last season before falling to Ramsey High School in Birmingham. In Coach Hambright's second season as head coach, he took the Trojans from a 2-8 record to a 12-2 record with a region title. I can tell you, he's not satisfied just yet.
We still don't know how to win. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to win games. That just means, after a win, how would you respond? We know how to respond after a loss. After embedding them that the grind never stops. Last year we were the homecoming team, and this year, it's going to be the complete opposite.
Well, with football season being here, coaches or parents, you can help us get a head start on our games by sending in your rosters. We want to know who your child is and just their jersey number, so we made it easy for you.
Well, head over to the sports tab on WTVY.com. All you do is enter your email address and it takes you to a submit form where you can upload your roster. The link is up right now. We'll be right back after you're watching News 4.
High school football may have started before many of us were even thought of, but one thing many of us can't agree on is change each generation. Well, now concerns are coming up if the changes are moving in a positive or a negative direction.
Kids are much more invested in the decision as to where they go or where they attend school.
That's just the start of what has changed in the past decade for high school football players.
A little different from when I was in school. You just kind of had to go where you was on or where your mother told you were going. So it's just a kind of a sign of the times.
Stefan Gainey is a head coach at Northside Methodist Academy in Dothan, where it's always a choice for students to not only attend, but play for his football team. However, he's well aware that at any given time, one of his students could feel the smaller school doesn't give them enough exposure. But he says it's all natural.
It's very similar to what we're seeing with companies. We have companies getting CEOs from different companies and offering them more money. And if you're a top guy, a lot of people are looking for you and you have a lot of options these days. So I think it's just kind of goes hand to hand in what we're seeing in our world and in the workforce.
This may be true, but is there a point where those decisions take away from the game? For example,
I would say some negative vibes far as just, I would say like stacking teams.
it's what you see in college and even the pros. Your most talented players join forces with, of course, winning in mind. But does it leave the other teams with no chance of truly ever winning?
It's not high school players' fault. And the reason why I say this is because that's what you see on ESPN. That's what you see on Instagram and the transfer portal. There's even a transfer portal in the Little League now. It's going to be something that everybody's going to have to adapt to because it's not going to slow down.
So when it comes to keeping a player on a roster,
even if you're a new coach coming in, you just want to tell them like, hey, this is the game plan that I have for the team. And this is the game plan that I have for you. And you want to let them know how valuable they are as a player and how valuable they are to this team. Kids can sense that. They're smart. All you can really do, you got to control what you can control.
And to the parents?
If I'm a parent today, the first thing you have to look at is the coach growing my son. I kind of love what Dion says. He says, you give me a boy and I return you a man.
Before anything else, we're going to be in this child's corner, and we're going to have their back, and we got their best interests at heart. And I think just as well as the kids can see how genuine you are, the parents can see it.
Well, just as high school football changes, so do the many faces that are leading the program. There are several new head coaches for football teams across the Wiregrass, some of them becoming a head coach for the first time. At Northside Methodist, Stefan Gainey is heading the Knights this season. Evan Ballard will lead Dale County High School. David Stapleton comes fresh into Ashford High School with the Yellow Jackets. Jamel Harris will lead the Geneva Panthers, and Buck McDonald is taking over things at Lakeside High School.
While some coaches may not be new to coaching, they are new to their schools this year. For example, Jason Barnett with the New Brockton Gamecocks. Barnett spent the last 5 seasons at Central High School in Mobile County. There, he's coached a program that often flipped between 5 and 6A classes. In his last year, he went 1-9 in a tough region, and he's hoping for a fresh start here in the Wiregrass.
We've outgrown our locker room. We've outgrown our weight room. The roster last year had 32 kids on. Right now I'm sitting at 82. We understood it when we took the job, that the schedule is a brutal schedule for us. We're behind the 8 ball every single week, but we're excited about it, and you know, we're gonna give it the old college try anyway every single week.
Well, head coach Toby Green returns home in his new stint with the Rehoboth Rebels. Green has 22 years under his belt, going 111 and 111. He first joined Rehoboth in 1999 after coaching at Mountain Brook High School. He spent time at Cottonwood, Florella, Geneva County, and even Northside Methodist since then. Since it's a new year, what does the 2023 version of Toby Green look like for Rehoboth?
The thing I'm most impressed with our kids over the summer is we've developed some leadership, especially out of our seniors. They're starting to take control of the locker room. We've got 4 seniors starting offensive linemen, 3 of them are returning starters. Defensively, we're kind of young on that side of the ball. We've graduated a lot of guys over the last 2 years. But if we come together like that and find a way to win close games, I think we'll have a big year.
Well, the Rebels face Wicksburg on September 1st.
My favorite place to eat is, I'm a pizza guy.
Okay.
I love Dante's Pizza.
Well, how well do you know your favorite head coaches? Catch our sit down with Dothan High School's head football coach after the break.
The Dothan Wolves football team set numerous records in their 2022 season and has now been up and running for 4 years. I sat down with the team's head coach to see how he'd like to take their postseason from good to amazing. Wiregrass is home to only 2 7A teams. Both were sent home in the second round of last season's playoffs, and I'm sure they would prefer it never happen again. Joining me now is Dothan High head coach Jake Kennedy. Coach Kennedy enters his 2nd year with the program created in 2019. Coach, you guys take this field pretty soon. How are you feeling right now?
We've had a great summer. Obviously, with the region we play in, you got to bring your best every day. Our attendance has been awesome. Our kids are working really hard, and we're excited.
So what are you seeing early that is really good and you're hoping you guys can capitalize off of going into week 0? And then what are some things you're like, okay, we need to nip this in the bud and get it together?
Well, I think the big thing is we have a talented roster. Our sophomore class is very talented in the skill positions. So that's certainly exciting. We lost some really good players off last year's team. Raymond Blackman was one of the best offensive players in the state. Corian Salter, linebacker, was one of the best defensive players in our region. So you take those 2 kids away, we lose 3 guys on the strong side of our offensive line. But, you know, when in 7A, you know, we have large rosters. We have 93 players, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So there's always going to be turnover. And the exciting thing is finding out how those pieces are going to plug in, and we're starting to create our identity. And I think our identity right now, when you talk about things that I really like, our kids come every day, they work really, really hard, and they've bought in. You know, last year 1, it was changing of the culture, and, you know, I think there's a little bit of a feel out probably period from our kids wondering, you know, kind of how things work as everything was new. And, you know, I just think I don't know if it's a concern, but the question is just, when you have young guys but talented players filling into spots, just how quickly they can learn and adapt to the speed that'll happen on 7A football on Friday nights.
Absolutely. You mentioned some of those big names that we're losing. So obviously that impacts the leadership role. And you told me earlier, 25 seniors on this roster, which is huge. How are you guys building up that leadership room once again this year?
Well, I think the big thing is, as I told our players the other day, when you take over a program, and it was no secret that in 21 and 20 were rough seasons for Dothan football. Our seniors were willing to do anything to be successful. They practiced hard, they played hard, and they just had that hunger. And as I told the players that are now seniors, they felt both sides of it. And sometimes year two can be tougher than year one, just because, if you take our rising juniors, all they know is 8-4 going to the playoffs, and they don't understand how quickly things can go the other way. So we've got great seniors, we've got great leaders. To me, the first part about being a leader is you got to be there, and our attendance was unbelievable this summer, especially out of our seniors. From our freshman team on up, we have 143 kids in our program. 106 never missed a day all summer. That's phenomenal. Wow. So those are the things we just attack every day. We've got great kids. They work really hard. We have very supportive families, and we're just excited to see what 2023 has in store for us.
Absolutely, Coach. I think people at home need to really get to know you more, because I'm learning you every day. And now I learned you've been a head coach for 16 years. Absolutely crazy. You have a state title on your record also. Just talk a little bit more about the success you've had and what led you here.
Well, I've been fortunate to coach some really good players and been fortunate to win a lot of games. 4 years ago, I came down here to be the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator at Enterprise High School. And, so prior to that, the previous 14 years, I was a head coach. And came down, fell in love with the Wiregrass. My family loves it down here. When this job opened up, things seemed to line up, and I knew in my gut this is where I wanted to be. This is where I needed to be. We've built a great staff. To me, one of the big things of building we talk about winning, but we want to be a consistent winner. And being a consistent winner is having the same staff year in and year out. We have only one staff member on our varsity staff who's different from last year. So out of 14 coaches, only one is different, and that's exciting. It's exciting for our kids. Mm-hmm. And people told me when I took this job, if Dothan is waiting for a winner, and if you win, they'll get behind you. I'm just so humbled and proud to be the head coach here. Our crowds last year were awesome. To me, it's all about the experience for our kids, and I want our kids to have an experience on Friday nights that really is matched with anybody. We had that last year. It was just awesome to be a part of. And what's crazy is I think we're just scratching the surface about what we can be here. We've broke ground on a $13 million facility on campus that'll rival the other 7A programs in the state. People always ask me if it excites me. As much as it excites me, I'm excited for our kids. Our kids deserve that. There'll be a new track out there for the track athletes. There'll be a facility for our female athletes. We'll have the facility that we're building that have a nutrition room, a new weight room, team room. And those are just a few things, but there's certainly great times in Dothan City Schools. I'm excited to have a small part in that. We've got awesome administration that starts from Dr. Cole as our superintendent all the way down to our school with Dr. Bland and to our athletic director with Coach Noble.
Absolutely. So since you know what it feels like to taste that state title and the championship and the success and just everything that comes with that, what do you think Dothan needs to do right now to get it this year?
Well, I tell you, people, the craziest thing about winning a state title is all you ever want to do is get back and play for it again. There's nothing that can reciprocate that feeling. We just attack it as every day. It's an everyday process. We just come out every day and try to be better. And it's my job as the head coach to have a plan in place that gets us to where we want to be. And the big thing is to have that long look. And what I'm excited about is, as I talk about, we have administration, we have parents, we have players that understand that and just continue to go to work every day. I would put our region up with anybody in the state when it comes to how competitive it is. I mean, if you think, when you have teams like Central Phoenix City, Auburn, Prattville, Opelika, Enterprise, Dothan, Montgomery Lee. I mean, and three of those teams won't even make the playoffs next year. It's competitive. It's literally like the SEC West. We love it. We know we're going to play against the best. And, last year we were a 4 seed, went down and knocked off a 1 seed. I think they were ranked 6th or 7th in the state at the time. And when you come out of our region, if you can be a playoff team, you know you're going to be battle tested and have a chance to win playoff games.
Absolutely. Now, Coach, I always ask a fun fact for my coaches. Tell me, you've been here a couple years now in the Wiregrass. What's your favorite place to eat?
My favorite place to eat is, I'm a pizza guy.
Okay.
I love Dante's Pizza.
Okay. I've actually been there for the first time a couple weeks ago. Really good. Tell me what your ideal pizza is.
Pepperoni, green olives.
And that's it?
That is it.
Goodness, you heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first, I should say. We've had a great time with Coach Kennedy. Be looking out for the Dothan Wolves this season. Of course, week 0 is just around the corner.
Well, you heard Coach Kennedy. Another 7A team, the Enterprise Wildcats, led by head coach Ben Blackman, who enters his 2nd year with the program. The Cats were kicked out of their run for a state title after falling 45-14 to Central Phoenix City in the 2nd round of the playoffs. 2 All-State players won't return for this team, in Aiden White and Michael Johnson. But here's how Coach Blackman plans to respond.
We've made some moves around, and Keon Dunlap, who started 2 years at safety, will probably play running back for us. Just, it's football season, and that's the beauty of this thing is it's not where you start, it's where you finish.
Well, after the break, we head over the border to check in with 2 teams hoping to own their regions.
Plus, did you hear our week 0 game of the week takes us to one of the nicest stadiums in the Wiregrass? Found out more next. The Houston County Lions may be in need of a miracle this football season under head coach and former NFL player Jake Allen. The team won just 2 games last year, finishing 7th in their region. The Lions did move from Class 2A into Region 2, which could have played a major part in their performance. In fact, in 2021, the team had 5 wins on their record, including a 50-26 dub over Ashford.
My message to the team this year, which has been our team motto, one team, one goal, getting everybody to buy in and get on the same page. We're all one family. We're going to take care of each other. Whatever we do as a family, we win as a family, we lose as a family, but most importantly, we will stay a family no matter what the outcome may be.
Well, during the 2022 season, the Early County Bobcats made a deep playoff run, but unexpectedly lost at home during the 3rd round. This season, the Bobcats are looking to capitalize off that loss and bring home the title game win. There has been a change in the head coaching job for Early County, as Frank Killingsworth has been promoted to that top position. Killingsworth believes this will not hurt the team's success, as the team means more to him than the promotion itself.
Well, I was the offensive coordinator, Coach Harvin, so I have that tie with them, with the boys anyway. And in Early County, the idea of being a good football team is paramount to everything else. It's not who's coaching, it's the team itself and the history.
After a disappointing 4-7 season in 2023, the Seminole County Indians are looking to change their story. During the offseason, head coach Cedric Stegall has done everything in his power to help better his team. He has changed the narrative of competitiveness and in-team practices and taking his team to events to improve their skills. He believes with an improved depth chart and hard-working starters, his team has what it takes to compete for a deep playoff run.
The whole offseason, we've been preaching mental toughness and competing. Nothing will be given to you. So I think now that when we get to game 1, we'll be already in game 1 form versus, taking us 3 or 4 games to get in game 1 form. The kids done been exposed to a lot of camps and a lot of 7-on-7, a lot of padded camps this summer, which is going to help out when the season starts.
Well, folks, we are now just a week away from some action-packed football here in the Wiregrass. We take you to week 0 in literally a week.
Yeah, our first game of the week for 2023 takes us to Coffee County for a Class 7A, Class 5A battle. The Enterprise Wildcats will welcome the Eufaula Tigers August 25th. These 2 teams have not played since 2013 when the Wildcats would straight dominate and win 41-3. Altogether, these teams have played 24 times and the Wildcats have taken 17 of those wins.
Nick, I can't ask who you think is going to win. I just think it's going to be a good game. We're going to keep it safe here.
I think it's going to be a good game. You know, Eufaula's always come to play, and Enterprise has been good the past several years. So I think it's going to be a lot better game than what people might think.
Be sure to follow along our social media pages to stay locked and loaded with scores, updates, and more. For Nick Brooks, I'm Briana Jones. Have a great night.